Hello and welcome back to the port. I'm the Gav Major and this is a review of the German Tier 7 Premium Cruiser, the Mainz, available as the end reward of the Origin of Wisdom campaign. Obviously locked behind damage backing of 2,500 doubloons, and obviously it's a 6-week campaign, 120 milestones. So the Mainz actually was a design proposed for an Admiral Hipper class cruiser. There were, I think one of the last ones to be built was proposed to have 6-inch turrets installed instead. It never happened, but it was contemplated a few times. So, this is a tier 6 and 7 game of domination on land of fire. We have a Kiev, a Nuremberg, a New Orleans, a Chapayev, an Edinburgh, a Scharnhorst, Gneisenau, Lyon, and a Iowa. Or Lyon, I should maybe say. Just make sure we get through the island. There we go. So as always, in comparison to the other Tech Tree Tier 7 cruisers only, so obviously excluding the premiums because they model things up is the best way to put it. And also that baseline is always moving. So the Mainz survivability wise, she has the 4th highest HP of 42,500. She also has the 3rd highest HP pool, which is basically her base HP plus all her repair parties, of 56,780. Now, she has the joint highest torpedo reduction of 16%, and when it comes to the armor scheme, it's always best to go back to and take a look at the armor scheme there. Well, welcome back to the port and taking a look at the armor scheme of the Mainz. So, superstructure, let's start off with that. Pretty much mostly plated in 60mm plating, which is sufficient to ricochet 8-inch AP, should it be angled, so that's just down to RNG really, about whether that piece of armour that it bounces off or hits is sufficient for it to actually bounce angle-wise. And then regarding HE-wise, obviously it will be resistant to 4-inch HE. There are other parts of it which are slightly more thickly plated, such as the command citadel at front, but that's not really anything that you really need to be worried about, I guess you could say. Moving on to the bow and the stern. There is a part of the bow, like a lower icebreaker, I guess you say, which is 40mm thick, which obviously will be resistant to, I believe, all calibers of AP. Yeah, so you could maybe bounce the Yamato shell off your nose if you want to try and chance it, maybe. But apart from that, the rest of it is 25mm plating. That's the deck and the upper bow, and what that basically means is it can resist 14-inch AP when angled. So you can bow tank, say a 14-inch gun battleship, but against something a bit more larger, you might need to look into dodging. Exactly the same kind of story when it comes to the stern as well. 25mm plating over the majority of it, and then some 40mm plating lower down. Torpedo Bulge, of course, the Torpedo Bulge basically is centered around the citadel, or the main part of the ship, I guess you could say. This is generally 25mm plating, so that could bounce a 14-inch AP shell off if you're angled, and apart from that, there's not really much more worth to add or mention about it, so let's take that away, which reveals the lower armoured belt. Let's jump onto the armoured belt and the deck armour and stuff. So first of all, deck armour 27mm, with some parts of it being 40mm. What this generally means is it's able to resist 15-inch AP shells if angled. So if they're coming in at a shallow angle, there's a good chance they might skip off, very much like, say, the British cruisers. The upper armoured belt is 25mm thick, where the lower armoured belt is 80mm thick. So the upper armoured belt can resist 14-inch AP shells. The lower armoured belt should be more than sufficient to resist most AP shells. It just obviously means you need to be angled. However, if you're being angled, there's always the chance a high caliber AP shell might smuggle itself in either through your bow or your upper armoured belt, I guess you could say. That gives you a nice idea. So there is like an opportunity, especially at that bow area, for a battleship caliber shell, maybe to slip in and find your citadel. If not broadside wise, it could potentially hurt in those areas. So let's take that away. We'll look at the turrets and the barbettes. The barbettes are quite thickly armoured, so are the turret facings. Nice, decent amount of armour. Barbettes, ironically for B and X turret, don't go all the way down to the citadel, so Whether that might play into the turret survivability, I don't quite know. However, there are parts of the turret roofs which are actually quite thinly plated, only 20mm thick, and even the backs of the turrets, should I be able to find a sufficient angle, are quite thin as well. So potentially, if you can catch a Mainz, not looking at you, maybe looking a different way, you might be able to incapacitate the turrets by punching in through the rear of the turrets, because they can only really resist 8-inch AP when angled and 4-inch HE. So potentially, you might be able to punch into the back of the turret and reduce the turret's health. So that's an interesting one, I guess you could say, and potentially even Battleship HE could seriously damage the turrets just due to splash damage. Citadel time. It is at the waterline, it is turtle-backed, and it's reasonably well plated. I mean, you've got... let's see what the actual top of it's 30mm thick, and the turtle back sides are 40mm thick, and it's quite a reasonable angle as well. So trying to find the citadel of the Mainz at close range could be quite difficult, as first of all it's quite low, and second of all it is angled, so anything that does punch through might end up ricocheting off the turtle back and up into the upper section of the ship, I guess you could say. Oh well, that's the armour scheme of the Mainz. There's not much more to add, so let's get back to the game. Welcome back. So let's move on to artillery. She's equipped with 12 number 6-inch guns mounted in 4 treble gun turrets. We have X turret super firing over Y turret at the rear, and B turret super firing over A turret at the front, or over the bow I should say. Now these will offer you the joint third largest range of 15.8 kilometers. Also, they will offer you the fastest reload of 6 seconds. Also, the fourth fastest turret traverse speed of 23.7 seconds per 180 degrees of rotation. In regards to the shells, you'll be getting the lowest HE shell damage of 1,700, lowest fire chance of 8%, and the third lowest AP shell damage of 3,900. However, due to that reload time being quite quick, she has the third highest HE DPM, third highest fires per minute, and the highest AP DPM. In fact, her AP DPM is miles ahead of anyone else. Now, when it comes to the torpedoes, you're equipped with 4 quadruple launchers, 4 torpedoes per tube, reasonable angles, I guess you could say. I haven't actually been able to use them in anger because I'm usually playing from a distance, especially against things with 16-inch guns, for example. Launch an aircraft and see what kind of spotting we can get with that. Now, so you've got these 4 launchers, 2 per side. What you're looking at with those launchers is an average reload time of 90 seconds. Also, the joint second lowest torpedo damage, obviously joint with the Hipper, of 13,700. You also have the joint with the Hipper, second shortest range of only 6 kilometers, and an average detection of 1.3 kilometers. They're also the second fastest at 64 knots. In regards to the Mainz and her manoeuvrability, what are we looking at in regards to that? Well, she is the joint slowest at 32 knots. However, it's worth noting that the speed of Tier 7 cruisers is all quite tightly clustered at Tier 7. In regards to her turning circle, she's the 4th smallest at 720 meters. And in regards to her reverse shift, she's also the 4th slowest at 10.5 seconds. So obviously anything you can do to improve that would be acceptable, I guess you could say. Hence, when you look at my command build down in the description, you might understand some of those choices. Concealment wise, she's got the 5th largest detection by sea of 13.1 kilometers. Detectability by air is 8.2 kilometers, and detectability when firing in smoke is 7 kilometers. 16-inch shells will cut through me like butter, so I have to basically try and dodge this, so I'm tucking the tail around. Now, in regards to her consumables, first of all, you can have the The sonar, typical German sonar, same as the Hipper, 118 second duration, 180 second reload, 2 number of them. I've got fully packed, hence I managed to get 3. It'll be able to detect ships at 5.6 kilometers, and it'll be able to detect torpedoes at 3.8 kilometers. In regards to this sonar, you can obviously swap it out for the defensive AA fire consumable. With this consumable, you'll be looking at just the typical stats really for a defensive AA fire consumable. Nothing super exciting, I guess you could say. She also has Catapult Fighters. Generally, these are used for spotting unless it's a carrier game. I think the Nuremberg's going to have a crack at trying to come around the corner. So I'll angle against the Scharnhorst and maybe see if I can just poke out for the Nuremberg. Now, the fighter has the typical 100-second duration and the typical 80-second reload. It seems like the Nuremberg doesn't want to come around the corner as quickly as I anticipated. So we'll put one back there, and then one there. Load up AP.
Torpedos auf Backbord! Gegnerischer Kreuzer zerstört! Torpedos auf Backbord!
And looks like the Edinburgh's going to also try and come round, so we'll have to see what we can do there. The battleship doesn't absolutely blap him. Battleships have a crack at it. Torpedoes inbound. And as soon as we're all done with this, should be all right. Oh, we've lost the Edinburgh, unfortunately. And she's probably gone round. Okay, anyway, in regards to the rest of the consumables, as Iowa starts to come round the corner, which we'll have to start preparing ourselves for. She also has 2 heals, or repair parties. This will obviously repair 255 HP per second for 28 seconds, and each repair party will therefore grant you a total of 7,140 HP. Let's see. Who's going to come round first? Come on then. I think he's changed his mind. Oh well. I think he might have another crack at it, you never know. Question is, where is the Scharnhorst? Well, we'll launch the aircraft. Scharnhorst is there. Oh, the Edinburgh.
Wir haben einen gegnerischen Kreuzer versenkt.
Hat die Führung übernommen.
Oh boy. This flank got very busy very quickly, didn't it?
Höhenbruch. Wasser dringt schnell ein. Problem gelöst.
There we go, unfortunately. But it should be within our team's hands to deal with this, and therefore I'll continue the review while we watch the Mainz sink, I guess you could say. So what I wanted to say was obviously down in the description is my command build and my modules. Modules wise, I've taken aim assistance module 1, propulsion module 2, steering gears module 3, and main battery module 3 as well. I think you could probably swap out the fourth one for whatever you choose, to whatever is your choice. As this game looks like it's going to be dragging on for a while. Opinions on the Mainz. Seems like a quite capable ship. She's not as like OP as the Weimar, I guess you could say. In fact, the Weimar actually has better HE DPM, better AP DPM, and better fires per minute. So certainly, it looks like Wargaming actually learnt from their mistakes of the Weimar and tweaked the Mainz. So she actually fits in quite well in regards to those HE and AP DPMs and fires per minute. So I guess it's not as bad as some people were probably expecting. She does seem to be quite a worthwhile end reward for the campaign, and so I do probably look forward to actually grinding her out myself. In regards to the rest of this review, there's no point really going on much more, so what I'll do is I'll plug in some Colonel Bogey's March, and I'll catch you at the end screen. Well, here we are at the end screen. Let's see how we managed to do there. I think we did about 60,000 damage and 3 kills. 66,000 damage, fair enough. 119 hits on target, 2 fires, no torpedoes unfortunately, but 4 citadels, and even the secondaries chipping in, and I managed to shoot down an aircraft somehow as well. Team-wise, going third in the team, so I can't exactly complain about that. It did turn into a bit of a tight spot over on that left flank at one point, and it was literally a matter of time of when did the larger numbers of the enemy team come rushing around and pinch me off, I guess you could say. So I'm lucky to get away with third place, I guess you say. Economy wise, walking away with total profit of 244,000 credits with a premium account and a rare credit booster applied. As a tier 7 premium, she obviously won't have reduced ship service costs, so it's still 145,000 credits in this case, but she will have a higher credit earning potential, so obviously she will make more money, I guess you could say. Oh well, if you did enjoy that, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you enjoy this content, feel free to subscribe. Down in the description is the command build and the ship modules. As modules I described, Commando I haven't really covered, but it's a typical speed build, you know me. Also down there is a link to Patreon if you want to support the channel. Patreon, as it is a non-monetized channel, and also email address for the channel if you want to send in viewing game captures. I'd like to say thank you to all the subscribers, and also thank you to all the patrons whose lovely names will be appearing on the end screen. Until next time, I'm the Gaffer Major, and back to the port.
Hey, hey, clear the way, here comes the galloping Major. Bumpity, 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 bump. Get out of the way there, you